With great power comes great responsibility. Super Ultra Ranger here, and I am going to be doing my movie review on Spider-Man Far From Home. Before I talk about this movie, I am warning you guys right now, this is a full-on spoiler review. I will be going into full detail about this movie, so if you guys want to stop the video, watch the movie, and then watch my review, you have been warned right now. The movie first starts with Nick Fury and Maria Hill going to a location that a village has been destroyed by what seemed to be a earthly creature with a face. And Maria Hill is questioning of if we're battling the weather now, and then Nick Fury says it had a face on it, so it's our problem. So they then go to the location. Then a green smoke just comes straight down onto their feet. They pull out their guns to get ready to fire, and then it turns out it's Mysterio asking, who are they? And then the sand creature then completely comes out of the ground, and I think that sand creature is supposed to be a nod to Sandman, which I thought was really clever. I kind of liked how the earth creature would resemble Sandman in some way. I like that. And Mysterio then says, you don't want any part of this. Then he fires his beams, and it then goes to black. We then hear the music from The Bodyguard, I Will Always Love You, and it's a tribute to all the people who have died in Avengers Endgame. So first we see Tony Stark, we then see Black Widow, and then the Vision, and before we see Black Widow, we then see Captain America, which makes me thinking Steve Rogers has passed away during the activities between Endgame and Far From Home. Or it's a wee nod to say that Steve Rogers is no longer Captain America, and they're just paying their respect because we now know that he is no longer going to be Captain America anymore, which I think that's actually a really sweet thing to do. He's not dead, but he's no longer Captain America, so technically Captain Rogers is actually dead. So I thought that was really poetic. We then see Nettie, we see Betty talking to the school about thank you for the kind tribute to those who have fallen but not forgotten. They then talk about the blip after 5 years, and we get to see some of the band from the school being snapped out of existence. We then see that 5 years later, they just magically reappear, thinking that everything is normal, even though everything is completely changed, and they are all really confused, which now we understand exactly, we see exactly what it looks like when everyone got brought back from after the snap, which they are now calling it the blip. So that was pretty cool seeing that. And then after they realize that they've been gone for 5 years, they see that all the people who were younger are now 5 years older, and the newscasters then say, do we even have a plan? Because are the Avengers even a thing now? What are we going to do? And then we go straight to Peter Parker, who's talking to Ned about, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And he has this whole plan on how to see if he can get MJ to fall in love with him, and he has everything planned out. He's going to get a wee flower for her to remind her of the a black flower from the murderer, the Black Pearl, I think, not sure, but he then going to give it to MJ on the Eiffel Tower in Paris, and then say how he feels about her, and then hopefully she'll do the same. Then Ned just says, or you just don't do any of that, because we are just going to be going around the globe. So there's going to be lots of girls there for us to getting to know. And Peter just thought, no, I don't want that. I want MJ. And after that, we then see Spider-Man still wearing his Iron Spider suit at a charity event for people who have been affected by the blip. And it's Aunt May who is talking to the audience about that she was also affected by the blip, and that her neighbors didn't even thought she was a ghost, and her parents thought she was a ghost, and it was all really confusing. And it's good that Spider-Man still has the Iron Spider suit. It does mean that he's trying to still be in touch with Iron Man even after he's gone. And then afterwards, they then give him questions about is he the next Iron Man, and he then goes into complete panic because he has no idea what he's wanted, because he feels like he cannot live up to the legacy of Tony Stark, because he was like a father figure to the guy. So it was very difficult. And he then goes off and he sees a wall full with an Iron Man spray paint, just to represent that they all miss Iron Man. And actually, before the press conference, they go backstage, and Happy brings them a check for $500,000 from Pepper Potts, and to say sorry, I can't be there today. And Peter then realizes that there's something happening between Happy and Aunt May, so that's something that's very interesting. And then it went to the press conference, and oh no, and then Nick Fury tries to call Peter, but then he just hangs up on him, and Happy just says, did you just put Nick Fury on voicemail? And I thought that was really funny, that. And then it's the press conference. He goes up, he sees the wall with Iron Man, and he feels like, am I really good enough to be the next Iron Man? And he has no idea. So after that, he's then in his bedroom, and he's getting everything packed for his holiday, class trip holiday. And Aunt May throws him a banana, and Peter just gets hit right at the face because he didn't understand it, because he was just still thinking about, should he bring his suit or not? And Aunt May, this was a funny bit for me. Aunt May says, I thought you could sense all that, and I thought you had some kind of Peter tingle. And Peter just like, please do not call it the Peter tingle. And that was a complete nod to the spider sense, so that was absolutely brilliant, that. And he said, Aunt May says, so you can dodge bullets, but you can't dodge bananas. And Peter just says, no, I'm really just wanting this holiday to work out. I just really want everything to be back to normal. And Aunt May says, yes, I know. Well, you deserve it. So then after that, Nick Fury tries to call him again, hangs up again, and he says, nah, I won't bring the suit. So he just packs his suitcase, and what we know was really good was, on the suitcase, it has BP on it, which is a shout out to Ben Parker, Uncle Ben. So we finally get to see a wee nod of Uncle Ben, even though we don't actually get to see him in the movie, or he even get noticed or mentioned at all. But it's good that we get to see a wee nod of Ben Parker. So Peter's then on the plane into the airport, and they then open the suitcase, and it's his spider suit right on top, and it has a note from Aunt May saying, you forgot this, love you, Aunt May. And Peter is completely flustered because the woman is now going to figure out that he's Spider-Man. But no, she's more concerned that a banana is in his suitcase, and food are not allowed on the plane. And Peter was just like, right, got it, no problem. So she wasn't even caring about the suit. So he then goes on the plane with Ned and the whole class, and after that, Peter's then trying to get to sit next to MJ, but Ned tries to make this excuse to make him get closer, but the teacher actually took it literally, and he says, oh yes, I am perfectly aware that allergic reactions to perfume is very serious. So then he takes Peter to the very back with the other two teachers, and he puts Ned and Betty together, MJ with a young man who used to be a young kid who would get bloody noses all the time, but now he's 5 years younger and he's all muscular and everything. And Peter feels threatened by that because apparently all the girls are wanting him now, and he's worried that he's going to get MJ. So he's trying to every precaution to try and get sit next to her, and it's just not working. So he spends the whole trip with the two teachers in between with them, just sleeping and snoring. And one of the montages of the plane is actually Peter looking through some DVDs or music on the plane, and it actually shows different stuff of Endgame music. Like we see Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, we see Iron Man, we see the Avengers, we see all that, and that was really cool that it actually has music, that the citizens actually have music of Endgame. So after they land in the class trip, he then comes off the plane, talks to Ned, saying, "What am I going to do? What am I going to do? MJ's going to fall in love with this other guy." But then Ned says, "Don't worry, just relax." And then Betty comes up and calls Ned babe, because on the plane they were completely quiet with each other. They had nothing in common. And then Ned just says, "We started talking, and now we have a lot of things in common. And now those two are now boyfriend and girlfriend now." I was just like, "What?" And then Peter was just like, "What? But then what? What was the plan about seeing all these girls around the country?" And then Ned says, "Dude, that was a boy talking. I'm now a man who's got a really, really strong woman." So that was funny. And those two are now together. They then go around the country just to see everything. And while during the travel, Peter gets the locket of the flower, the black flower that he's going to get to MJ. And then after that, we then see some movement in the water, and we have no idea what is going on. But obviously, if you saw the trailer, you know exactly what's going to happen. And then after that, the water then gushes out, and it's Hydro Man just swiping and swooshing all the water all over the place. And Peter is trying to help, but he left his suit at the hotel because he's on vacation, he says to Ned. So he tries to get everyone to safety, and he wears one of those party masks, and luckily he has spare web shooters that he uses, and he just goes with web slings through to Hydro Man, but it has no effect because the water just washes them off. And he thought it's going to be doomed. He just got smacked right in the body by Hydro Man, and he's completely wounded. And then boom, Mysterio then appears, going like full badass on him, just going like whoosh, and then just putting a shield up to try and prevent any water coming to the citizens. And Mysterio's suit is really cool because it's definitely linked to the comics of what Mysterio looks like. So I was really happy about that. I'm really, really happy that they got with Mysterio's dead-on look. I loved that. Peter then helps Mysterio to defeat Hydro Man, and he then web slings a building that's about to fall on top of the classmates. So he web slings all the building parts so they don't fall on them. And then after that, Mysterio just grabs onto Hydro Man by using his his green smoke to turn into two giant smoking hands and just rip him apart. And then that's him now gone. And Mysterio then just flies off. And then in the evening, the classmates just ask, "Who is this guy?" And then the news report is calling him Mysterio. And we then see Flash tosses to saying, "He's no Spider-Man." And MJ's like, "What is up with you and Spider-Man?" And then Flash is just saying, "Because he's a cool guy. He makes me feel like a better person of myself." And then he just says, "Hey, Parker." And he calls him a dickwad. So he's not really the best of persons. So after that, Peter and Ned started talking, going back to their hotel room, and then Ned gets tranquilized in the neck, and it's Nick Fury waiting for Spider-Man, and he's absolutely gobsmacked. Peter's like, "You're Nick Fury." And then Nick Fury says, "You're a hard man to find, Spider-Man." And he then talks to Parker about what's been happening, and every time he gets into like serious mode, a door keeps knocking, and it's different people. Like first it's Betty just saying, "Hey babe, I haven't heard from you for a while. Are you alright?" And then Peter's just like saying, "He's alright, he's just sleeping." And then Betty's just like saying, "Alright, that's fine." And then it's then the teacher then saying, "Just doing my my check, my hourly check, if everything's okay, if they need like emotional counselling after today." And Peter's just like, "Nope, we're fine." And then the teacher just says, "Well, that's good because I'm actually not trained to do it." And we're just like, "Then why would you ask?" And then and someone else then knocks, and Nick Fury just says, "If someone else knocks that door, we are going to go down to another funeral." And Nick Fury says, "Suit up, Parker. Let's go on a little ride." And then it's Nick Fury and Spider-Man on a boat, and they're going around to a secret base where Nick Fury then introduces Spider-Man to Maria Hill. A guy which I think is the Tinkerer, but could be, but no, I'm just speaking rubbish. Another Shield agent, and then Mysterio himself, and they then talk to that Mysterio is actually from another Earth, which we were like, yes, the multiverse does exist. He then talks about that this is Earth 616, and that's a nod from the Prime Marvel universe from the comics, which I absolutely loved. And then Mysterio then says, "I'm from Earth 833." And that was a good nod because that universe is actually where Spider-Man UK is. And I thought that's really clever that they mentioned the Earth of Spider-Man UK, because that's the only universe of Spider-Man that was destroyed by the reality warping long hair guy who was killing all the Spider-Men. And I thought that was cool because his universe actually is destroyed, and Mysterio says that my world and my universe was destroyed. No, my world was destroyed by these so-called elementals. And they then say that Earth mythologically actually know these creatures by different people. And we then see it's from wind, earth, water, and fire, which I think is a nod to the elementals in Max Steel, which I actually thought that is pretty cool because the elementals were my favorite characters from Max Steel, and them showing up in Spider-Man Far From Home, I kind of like that. I really like that. I really do. And he then says that they go into the Earth's core, and then they destroyed my Earth, so now I am here to prevent them from destroying another Earth. So then Spidey then says, "But wait, why do you guys need me? I mean, isn't there like some other Avengers that you need? Like, what happened to Thor?" "Off worlds," Nick Fury says. "Okay, Doctor Strange, unable to be in contact." "Okay, Captain Marvel." And then Nick Fury says, "Don't criticize her name." And we were just like, please, come on, you need someone like a true Avenger. I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Which is a good nod because that's his catchphrase. And and then Nick Fury says, "Bitch, please, you've been into space." And that was just hilarious, that bit. And then Peter said, but that was a complete accident. Seriously, you need someone better than me. I want to be on my class trip. I want everything back to normal. And Nick Fury just says, and actually, before they go into the base, Nick Fury gives Peter Parker some sunglasses that were left by Tony Stark, and it said on a note, for the next Tony Stark, I know, I trust you, TS, and it's and we don't actually know what the glasses mean yet until later on. But until then, we just see that he was given some new glasses, which is like what Tony Stark would wear glasses. So we thought, oh right, there's another pair of glasses, so he's going to be running everything. And then we get to like Nick Fury introducing all the elementals, Mysterio, and all that. And then Peter just says, I just want to go on my school trip. I want to enjoy myself. I want to tell the girl that I love my feelings. And then Nick Fury just says, okay, listen, you want to go on your school trip? That's fine with us. We'll just handle it with ourselves. And Spider-Man's just like, really? And he's just, yes, honestly, it's okay. It's all right with us. And he was like, okay, that's fine. It was good seeing you guys. And then we then hear the teacher says, hey, instead of going to Paris, we are now going to Mexico, which, ironically, is actually where the last elemental is. Coincidence? I think not. So Peter then tells Ned, I think Nick Fury just robbed my vacation. And Ned's just like, awesome. And they go on a bus which Nick Fury has booked, and it's the guy driving them to to Mexico, and Peter then just puts on the glasses, and it then is a voice that comes on, and it then scans his face, and it says, "Hello, Peter, I am Ada," and Peter's completely gobsmacked because he didn't ever realize that it was these kind of glasses. And Ida then says, I am sure for, even dead, I'm awesome. And I just thought that's hilarious. I mean, Tony Stark still has his quips even in death. I mean, that's just brilliant. That's just typical Tony, the typical Tony. And we then see that Ida has power of a satellite that's been made by Stark Industries, and Peter's now in control of that satellite, and he then sees that, wow, he can like scour everything. He knows exactly everyone's information that's on the bus. He knows what everyone has on their phones or texting, and he says, no, don't look, that's bad, don't look. And then they stop off at a restroom for everyone who needs the toilet, and then Peter then runs into the driver and says, no, not you, you're over there. And we see a blonde hair woman just in a wee shop, and Peter then walks up to her and just says, take your clothes off. And Peter's like, excuse me, what? And she said, you said that Spider-Man cannot be in the same country, so S.H.I.E.L.D. has given you a new suit. Oh, and it's just like, oh wow, well thanks, but I said take your clothes off. And they say, well, okay, and he's just taking his trousers down, and then the guy who he thinks MJ is falling in love with just is like, oh, sorry, I thought this was a bathroom. It's just like, Peter's like, no, this is not what it looks like. This is definitely not what it looks like. And he just takes a picture and just says, oh, well, I'll just leave you guys to it. And Peter's just like completely flustered. It's like, no, wait, it's not what you think. And then he tries to convince him to erase the photo, and he says, hey, I know you're trying to get with MJ, but tell you the truth, I'm really liking her too. I really want her, and she deserves the truth. If you're going to be gallivanting around with foreign women, then that's just your business, but she deserves the truth. And Pierre's just like, oh jeez, what am I going to do? And then he just says, oh! And then he puts on Ada back on, and he just says, hey, you know that, hey, I've got this kid in my class, he's got a picture of me. And then Ada's just saying like, is he a target, Peter? And he just says, and and Peter sees the guy about to text MJ the photo, and he just says, "Yes, he's definitely a target." And Ada's like, "Copy that, summoning attack a drone," and a drone then comes down from the satellite, and then locks on the kid, and Peter's just like, "Oh jeez," and he tries to cancel it, but every time he tries to, he's then the glasses then fall off. He then Flash Thompson just swipes them, and he tries to get them back, and he just does. Psh! He just smacks Flash right in the face, and he's just completely knocked out. And he's then saying, oh, "Hey, look, a llama!" And they then just look over, and Peter just jumps up and just web slings the drone, and it explodes. And then they say, "Peter, there was no llama there." And this was, "Well, you probably missed it." And then Betty says, "Hey Peter, I know you think we haven't noticed, but your new look looks cool." And he just says, "Thanks," because he had glasses and his hair was all spiked up, just like Tony Stark. So he was basically having a whole Tony Stark look there, just missing his facial hair, and that was pretty funny. And then once we get to Mexico, he then goes to the hotel, and he's trying to figure out that, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And Nick Fury said that there's a comm in your suit, we want you to put it on and then get into your location pronto. And Peter's just like, right, what am I going to do? How am I going to distract the class for a couple of hours? And then he puts on Ada and says to him, and then said, "Hey, Ada, what could I do in Mexico that will distract them for a couple of hours?" And then the teacher has had a class meeting, and he said, "We're going to the opera." And they were just like, "What, the opera? Oh man, I want to go to the big party and the carnival." But no, we're going to the opera, and it's going to be the best 4 hours of our life. And she's like, 4 hours? Oh. And Ned, who knows that this is a distraction to stop the elementals, says, "Come on, guys, this is going to be a great learning experience for all of us." And the teacher says, "Well, thank you, Ned." And they then put on their nice suits, and then while everyone is partying with their masks and their decorations to the carnival, they're all wearing their smart suits and walking down to the opera. They're at the opera house, and they then get some opera glasses, which Betty and Ned both thought were really cool, and they would get in a pair. And Peter then talks to MJ to say, "You look really pretty tonight." And then MJ just says, "So because I'm pretty, I have value?" And Peter's just like, no, that's not what I meant." I was like, "I'm just kidding. You look pretty too." And it's just like, "Thanks." And then MJ says, "Hey, do you want to save us? Do you want me to save your seat?" And Peter's like, "What, like next to me? Yes, next to you?" And just like, "Yeah." And Peter's like, "Yeah, sure. I'll catch you up." And then he talks to Ned to say, "Just say to MJ I'm ill because I need to stop these elementals." And Ned's just like, "Oh my god." And Peter, you've got to make sure they don't go to the opera house. And Peter's just like, "Okay, yeah, I already know that. That's the whole reason I got you guys here." And he then goes off, and he's then wearing his new spider suit that S.H.I.E.L.D. gave him, which is actually a nod to the Spider-Man Noir suit, which I thought was really cool. I love the new black suit. I absolutely love it. And he's then looking over the place just to find the last elemental, and Mysterio is on standby, and so is S.H.I.E.L.D. And then before we know it, the elemental just rises out of the ground, and it's the fire elemental. And Peter's just like, then, "I found him. He's right here." And Mysterio's just like, "I'm on it, Spider-Man." And then he just fires fires and nothing's working, and he keeps absorbing metal that makes him go bigger, and if it grows big enough then it's going to go into the Earth's core and it's going to destroy the Earth. We'll have no chance to stop him. And then they're trying to figure out, oh jeez, what are we going to do, what are we going to do? And then Pierre then throws a giant rock at it, and just like, that's it, we need rocks. And then Mysterio's just like, okay, you go left, I go right, go. And then he just fires the ground just to break off the rocks, and then Spider-Man just web slings them up, throws them at the Elemental, and it's like, and it's getting, and he's stopped, he can't absorb them, so it's just all hard concrete, and then he falls back into metal bars, which he absorbs from the back, and he grows ginormous, and it looks like it's going to be all over. But Mysterio then just says, whatever happens, I'm glad I met you, kid. And then Pierre's just like, wait, what are you doing? And then Mysterio says, something I should have done last time. And he flies right in the chest of the fire creature, which I think is a nod to Molten Man from the Spider-Man comics, which is good, because now we got a Sandman, Hydro Man, and Molten Man, so that's absolutely brilliant. And he then goes into Molten Man, and then he then explodes, and we just think, well, that's it. All 4 elementals have been destroyed. Mysterio has destroyed all of them. But where is he? Where is he? And then we just see his body knocked out on the ground. It's just like, and Spidey's like, no, please, no, please, no, no. It's just like, Beck. And we find out he's still alive, yay! So, then S.H.I.E.L.D. then shows up. He then shows up and gives Beck, Mysterio, some medication just to get his strength back, and then Nick Fury then walks up to Spidey, just says, Stark saw something in you. Now, was he right for you to step up? Well, was he? And Peter is just completely silent, because he has no idea if he was. And he then walks up to Mysterio and says, we could use someone like you at a S.H.I.E.L.D. facility in Berlin. How about it? And then Mysterio's like, I guess I'll take you up on your offer. So now Mysterio is now part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the world is saved, and we have a new ally now, and Peter is still trying to figure everything out. Then Mysterio walks up to Peter and said, let's get a drink. But then Peter's like, but I'm under 21. And I just thought it was hilarious. And they're in a bar, and they're drinking up, and they're just wondering, and they're just talking, and and Mysterio's asking Peter, what do you want? You, Peter Parker, right now, what do you want? And Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is then saying, I want to be on my vacation. I want to tell the woman I love what exactly how I feel about her. And maybe kiss her. And Mysterio's like, oh, kiss her. It's just, and Peter's like, shut up. And then Mysterio just then says, listen, Peter, you have a choice to do what you want. No one is forcing you. If Tony was here, he would have done the exact same. He would have told you the exact same thing. You have a choice. And then Peter just says, I don't know. And then a woman picks up Ada because he's dropped the glasses on the floor. So he then puts them back on to show Mysterio. Just says, and he says, I'll be honest, they really do not look cool. Maybe you could get contacts of them. And Peter's just like, oh yeah, okay. Well, let's see what they look like on you. And they just said, nah, I'm not doing that. It's just like, come on, I'm serious, do it. It's just like, fine. He puts them on, and he looks completely like Tony Stark. The resemblance is so close. And Peter's just like, the next Iron Man. And Mysterio's like, what? Listen, Tony said that I was in charge of finding the next Iron Man. That someone is not me, but it could be you. And Mysterio's like, no, wait, no. Tony decided it was going to be you to wear these glasses, not me. Pierce says, no, maybe Tony entrusted me not to wear the glasses, but to find someone good enough to wear the glasses for him. And he then puts on Ada. He said, Ada, I want you to take orders from Quentin Beck from now on. And Ada just says, confirmed. He then takes them off, gives them to Mysterio, and he just says, thank you. And good luck. Go get her. I'm giving you about 50-50. You're a bit awkward. And Pierre's just like, thanks. And he walks off the bar, and then when Pierre leaves, the whole bar then just turns all mirage-like. Like, none of it was even real. And Mysterio is like, well, that was easy. And then everyone's just like cheering, woo! And he just said, get this suit off of me. And we then figured out he planned this whole thing just to get the trust of Nick Fury and Spider-Man, just to get Ada and to take control of Stark Industries, because they then figured out that Quentin Beck was actually the one who made the digital reanimation of Barf, as we saw in Captain America Civil War, which Tony did show their parents with the young Tony, and he was absolutely fuming with that. So he wanted to confront Tony about that, and he then got fired because he was a bit unhinged. Yeah, unhinged. Yes, he's definitely unhinged. We then see the team that's been helping him, and they've all worked at Stark Industries. And they all hated Tony Stark. They all felt like that Tony was like the big man. He doesn't care about anyone else. So they then team up with Beck to make Mysterio, to make everything. Because the whole Elementals, they're all fake. None of it was ever real. And it was all thanks to the effects of one of the scientists, a bald scientist, which we actually know from Iron Man 1, who's trying to reenact the arc reactor in Iron Man 1, which I thought was a really good shout, because that means we've got a scientist from the very first Iron Man and Avengers MCU movie to appear in Far From Home, which was a great shout. And they then toast to Mysterio, because now he's going to be the greatest hero in all the world. And but the annoying thing is, we then find out that the multiverse, Earth 833, it was all faked. A guy who worked at Stark Industries just made the whole thing up, and they bought it. And I was just like, no! The multiverse is wrong. No, it's not real. Damn. And I thought, no. Man, we were going to get a crossover with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland Spider-Man all together in one. And maybe even Miles Morales. And I was just like, oh, we could have had that. But no, we did not get it. I was like, no, the plot, the plan is all gone. So sad. Then Peter goes back to the hotel and sees MJ, and Tony and Pierce say to MJ, I don't want this vacation to be over yet. Hey, do you want to head out somewhere just for our last night? And MJ immediately just says yes, just yes. And Pierce is like, okay, cool, I'll see you at the entrance in 10 minutes. And MJ says, see you in 5. And it's just like, okay. And then he just walks off and just goes like, yes. And then they then walk off to a bridge, and he's about to give him the flower, but to say, MJ, I really like you. But no, MJ just interrupts him and says, and Pierre just says, MJ, and then MJ says, I'm Spider-Man. And Pierre's like, what? No, I'm not Spider-Man. What makes you think I'm Spider-Man? And then MJ's like, dude, it's obvious. I mean, Washington used mysteriously vanishing. I mean, it's not difficult. And Pierce was like, but no, but it's just like, no, wait. Nah, you can't improve that. I was ill. That was it. That was all. And then MJ then picked up, uh, uh, is this your own webbing? Because Peter, for some mysterious reason, when he was trying to web sling Molten Man, he actually webbed at a drone that was hovering invisibility that was invisible, and when he web slinged, it then broke and it fell onto the ground. And MJ, who was actually snuck out of the opera to find Peter, actually saw the whole fight and took the drone to figure out. I wonder what this is. He then realizes that, oh damn, she actually knows. And then before he tries to explain himself, he just like it turns on. It's just like, whoa, jeez, and it's the wind elemental that's about to attack. But we then realize, wait, it's just a hologram. And they were wondering, but who would, like, the elementals? They're fake. Who would do something like this? All the destruction. And we then see a later on shot of the wind elemental fighting against Mysterio, and Peter's just like, Mysterio. And now MJ and Peter both know that Mysterio has been faking this whole thing. He's been the master planner of everything. So and then Peter just says to MJ, okay, yes, I am Spider-Man. And I'm just like, wait, you weren't kidding? I mean, I was just 60% sure that you were Spider-Man. I wasn't actually sure. You're actually serious right now? And he's like, yes, I am Spider-Man. And I've really messed up. So we have got to move now. So they go back to the hotel. He then figures out what to do. He then puts on his suit so he can then go to Berlin to talk to Nick Fury to say that do not trust him. He's been evil this entire time. And Ned just walks in with Peter putting on the suit and MJ in the room, and he's trying to say to Peter, nice costume for the costume party. And Peter said, dude, she knows. I told her. And MJ's like, no, I figured it out. Oh, and Ned's like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And then Peter then takes the drone, he goes off the window, and he goes on a train, on top of a train, to go around to Berlin. And then after he leaves the window, Ned says, right, so you know he's Spider-Man. Well, I've known it for longer. I was the first one to know, but hey, it's not a competition. That was just funny bit. That was a funny bit. And Spider-Man then goes off to Berlin. He then finds Nick Fury just drove right in front of him, just like, we need to talk. And then he then goes into the car. He then goes to the Berlin Shield base, and then says to Nick Fury and Maria Hill, this has all been a hoax. Mysterio's been making this whole thing up. And Maria Hill's like saying, who else knows? And Peter's just like, he then gets a wee sense. Like, that's the spider sense. Because he's just like, Beck, he's here. And Nick Fury's just like, wait, where? And then the hologram's just starting to rematerialize. And it turns out Maria Hill, she was also a hologram. And Nick Fury's just like, okay, I'm ready. And then a drone just fires a shot and just goes like, boom, and shot Nick Fury. And the drone then shoots Spider-Man. He then comes off. And then, before we know it, he's then wearing his red suit in a schoolhouse, because it's now Mysterio making all the illusions, which in my opinion was my favorite bit of the movie, because you get to see all, like, the whole digitalized scenes all changing around. I just thought I loved that. And we get to see, like, Peter trying to fight against Mysterio. He then turns into green smoke. He tries to web sling him, but it just turns into green smoke as well. And then he then falls down, and there's like stone statues on the ground, ginormous ones, and you see Mysterio's one just like raising up, just like, I am a god. And then he just looks down, and Mysterio just says to Peter, if you were better, maybe Tony could have still been alive. And then you see a grave of Tony Stark, and then you just see a hand reach out of the grave, and it's just an Iron Man armor just crawling out of the grave, and then just flying up just to get ready to get Spider-Man, which was actually a nod to the Marvel Zombies comic strip where Iron Man is a zombie, which was a great shout out because Marvel Zombies is a good strip. I highly recommend you read those comics. And he then tries to run away, but then it turns into glass, and it just shoots down right all around him, and he just sees like all the mirrors of Spider-Man. He just reaches out to one, and then it just sucker punches, and then for some reason he then sucker punches by another one, and they all just come right down all around him, and he was just like, come on, and then he's just like, they're all ripping the suit off to put him back into his original suit, which we see in Spider-Man Homecoming. And what was cool about the Spider-Man's attacking him, that was actually a nod to Mysterio's boss battle in Spider-Man 2, the PS2 game. So I thought that was really clever how they were doing that. And after he then puts back into his Mark 1 suit, he then just tries to find Mysterio, and he just tries to web sling him. He tries to dodge his attacks, and it's not working. He then gets sucker punched by a ginormous Mysterio hand, and then he's back into his normal Stark enhanced Spider-Man suit. And then he finds snow. He's in snow, and he's like, "Wait, what's this?" And then we see and then we see all of New York with Avengers Towers, just like, whoa. Like mini towers coming up with him, and then we got a long range shot, and it's actually Mysterio's head as a giant snow globe, which is a great nod because everyone makes the joke that Mysterio has a giant snow globe on his head. That's what Venom said in the Spider-Man Friend or Foe PS2 game. So I thought that was really cool, and he then takes it off. And he holds the snow globe, then he drops it, and then before you know it, boom! He's then back with his black suit, and he's woken up about everything, and Mysterio's like, he's ready to attack, and then he gets shot in the back by Nick Fury, and then Nick Fury then tells Peter, "Who else did you tell about your identity? Because whoever they are, they're in danger." And Peter is like, "I told Ned. MJ figured it out." And maybe Ned told Betty, I'm not sure. And then Nick Fury just like, "You're so gullible." And he was like, and then he turns, it was actually Mysterio the whole time, and it wasn't even that was real. And then Mysterio then turns on the drones again, and then you get to see all the shots that he's been going through. We see the mirrors, we see the stones, the corridor, everything. And then he's just like, whoa, and he's just trying to dodge everything that's falling on top of him. And Mysterio's like, "I really am sorry." And then it just goes whoosh, back to the real world. And then he's on a train track, and then slam! A ginormous train just smacks right into him. And Mysterio just thinks, well, that's him taken care of. Time to make me a hero. But we then see a bloody hand just gripping the windowsill of the train, and Spider-Man is still alive, and he just goes back on the train, and he's just like so wounded, and he just passes out. He's then woken up in a jail cell. It's like, whoa, okay, what's going on? And we see 3 guys who are actually with him, but they're really nice. Like, they gave him an orange shirt because he looked pretty cold, and he just says, "Wait, where am I?" And they say, "You're welcome to the Netherlands." "I'm in the Netherlands?" And he said, and then he's trying to figure out where the cop is, because this is all a big mistake. And he just says, "Oh, he's probably on his break. He's probably calling his wife." And the other robber says, "Dude, he's married? Oh, mazel tov," because they're really nice. And Peter then just breaks the lock, opens the gate, and walks out. but he sees the cop wearing his black mask, so he's just okay, and he walks off. He then, the robbers, he tried to walk up to him, and you think they would walk out, but no, they actually close the gates just in front of them, just like, nope, we need to pay our debts to society. And Pierre's just like, how am I gonna get back? And he just goes to a marketman just to say, hey, can I borrow your phone, please? And he just says, sure, go right ahead. And Pierre's like, wow, everyone in the Netherlands is so nice. He then tries to figure out who to call, and he found out. And he says, hey, I need a lift. And then Happy comes down with Stark's ship, the Stark plane, and Spidey's like, wait, how do I know you're really Happy and you're not just another mirage? And then Happy is just like saying, okay, what can I tell him? What can I tell him? I was like, right, hey, remember that time I found that DVD stashed away in your room, and I looked it up, and I knew that it was over 18, and then Pierre's just like, whoa, okay, yeah, you're Happy. And that was hilarious, because that is completely funny. And Pierre is then getting stitched up with Happy, and he's just, because he's completely messed up, he's given Mysterio everything that Tony Stark has built. He's got the power now. He can do whatever he wants now, and it's all my fault. And Happy's just like, hey, listen, Tony made many mistakes, but the one mistake he never made was entrusting you, was picking you to be the next him. And then Pierre's just like, but I'm not the next Tony Stark. And then Happy was just like, you don't need to be the next Tony. No one could be the next Tony. Not even Tony himself. You can only be yourself. And what are you exactly going to do about it? And he says, I'm going to kick some ass. He then says, but wait, I need a suit. And he just says, suit? He then, the inner bit of the shield then just comes up, and it's like all tech stuff, like all built up to make him a new suit. And he says, you handle this. Happy says, you handle the suit, I'll take care of the music. And he puts on Back in Black, which was a complete shout out to first off, Back in Black from the Spider-Man comic and episode Back in Black, when he got the symbiote, but it's actually he's getting his new suit, which originally his new suit would be the black suit, but in Far From Home he's getting his new suit with the red and the black underneath on it. And also it was a good shout because that's the same song that opened us up to the MCU, because that's the song that was playing in the background of Iron Man 1, and Peter's just like, oh, I love this song. And Happy's just like, he's smiling at him because he really does look like Tony, and he works like Tony because he's just like doing his 3D modeling, just trying to figure out how to make his new suit just like Tony made it, and he's just like, he really is him. So then the class go on to London, and we see another Iron Man memorial poster, which we've seen a lot of during the course of this movie. It really shows that everyone around the world is really upset with the loss of Iron Man. We see one in Mexico, London, New York, everywhere. And it's really shown how much of a loss the world has by losing Tony Stark. So once the class trip then makes it to London, Mysterio then reports to Nick Fury and Maria Hill that the seismic activity is even bigger than all the others they've had so far, and he's going to do another sweep around the place, even though secretly he's actually making all the tremors happen, and he's just pretending to be in the suit, which is very interesting actually, because he's not actually wearing the suit. It's another mirage of his face in the suit. He's been not even wearing the suit the entire time. He only wore it that one time when he lands on the ground, when he's not using his powers, which I thought, is that really a good thing or not? He can't use the powers when he's actually wearing the suit. He can only use it when he's Mysterio. Even though that kind of makes sense because the comics do the exact same thing, so I can roll with that. So Mysterio just then tells his team that let's make sure the tremors work. and cue the light show. So then the class trip get on a tour bus, which is actually being driven by one of the team members of Mysterio's scientist evil group, and he drives over to the London Bridge, and he then gets off the bus to make sure and tell Mysterio that they're in the kill zone. So then he gets off the bus, and then that's when the machine starts to make tremors again, and then that's when water will then start coming out, wind will come in from the air, and you would see a ginormous wind face coming out, and it's just everything's morphing together, and we learn that actually all the elementals combine together to make one ginormous elemental. And at this time, the Spider-Man has made his new suit, and it's completely badass. It's even got the iconic long-legged spider as we would get in the comics, which I was very happy about. And he gets his all the black parts underneath, and they don't know exactly where the team is, but they know because Flash Thompson's been doing a live stream on his channel for the whole entire trip, so they know exactly where they are and what's exactly happening. So Happy drives the ship down to London. Spidey then comes is about to jump off the plane, and before that, this is a funny bit, he actually says, when I get out of this, we're gonna have a serious talk between you and my Aunt May. And then he jumps off, and it's just hilarious because he knows there's something going on. And once he gets down, he then realizes that if he goes through the illusion, he could then destroy the machines from the inside and all the drones, so that they'll know Mysterio is a fake. So he gets in there, he then web slings all the machines and then activates his electro webs by pressing the middle part of his spider symbol, and it explodes mostly all the drones, which I thought was really cool, especially going inside the illusion of the fused elementals, because the lighting they used for that and all the special effects they've used to make the colors happen, I thought was really clever, and I'm loving the whole color scheme and the whole waving motion. I love that. And once Mysterio realizes that Spidey's actually destroying all his drones, he then asks all the drones to destroy him. And once the drones start firing, he has to dodge through all of them, and he has to distract Mysterio long enough for Happy to get the classmates who are in danger of being destroyed by the drones to back on the plane. Nick Fury then realizes that Mysterio is a fake because Happy gave him a call of a secret code message on his phone, and he then realizes that Mysterio has been faking the whole thing up, and Maria Hill is on the top of the building with her rocket launcher, ready to destroy the drones that are planning to kill Nick Fury. And Nick Fury says, "You got my back?" And then Maria Hill fires his rocket launcher and destroys a drone that was just locked onto his face, and she says, "Yeah, I do." And I absolutely loved that. It was so badass. And after that, the drones are closing in on the friends, and Happy is trying to get the team onto the ship by telling them, "I work with Spider-Man." Then Flash says, "You work for Spider-Man? I work with Spider-Man," Happy says. And they try and get onto the plane, but it gets blown up by one of the drones, so they have new plan, into the castle. So they go into the castle, and Spider-Man is still trying to destroy all the drones that are in the way of getting Mysterio and getting Ida back. And when the drones get into the castle, Happy then realizes, "I know exactly what we could do," and he tries to he gets the classmates into the Crown Jewels room, and he then picks up a Night Shield and tries to throw it at one of the drones. And then the funniest thing he says, "How does Cap do that?" And it's brilliant. He tried to do a Captain America move, and it was so cool. While they're locked in, and the drones are lasering the door down. Spider-Man is still trying to maneuver through them just to get to Mysterio. He's almost there, and then he even catches fire a couple of times, and then after that, this was really cool. He webs down and destroys the drones, and at the same time, he goes just skiffing the water by cooling himself off with the flames, so now he's all cooled off. And then he keeps destroying the drones, then he gets up to Mysterio, but then the drones shockwave him back, and then Mysterio says, "You want these glasses? Come and get them." And then it's just completely black. Spidey's all alone, and he just says, "Come on, Peter Tingle. You can do it." And then he just runs up, and you see nothing, and you just see him just like maneuvering the bullets and just going through all the drones, just destroying them, throwing them down. It's completely it's completely awesome that you cannot see a thing, that he's destroying everything that you can't see, and it's absolutely brilliant. And he was almost about to get to Mysterio, but then he gets pushed away by another drone, and then, now this was really cool, a whole herd of drones are about to lock in on Spider-Man and Mysterio, because Mysterio is in the kill zone, but Mysterio doesn't care as long as Spidey is dead. And after that, Spider-Man picks up a wheel and a pipe from the bridge, and when he walks up to the drones, it's a complete shout out to Avengers Endgame when Captain America was holding up Mjolnir and his shield, just the whole shield here and Mjolnir here the whole time. I just thought it was really brilliant. He threw the hammer just like Thor and Captain America did, and he uses the sign. He used a sign for his shield. He used the sign to block some of the bullets, and then he just comes up, he just web slings up, and then he jumps down and just goes right through Mysterio, and one of the bullets that was going to hit Spider-Man, but he actually web slinged the drone and turned it around, and it actually shot Mysterio instead. And then once all the drones were destroyed, Spidey then went up to Mysterio and says, "How could you do this? I trusted you." And then Mysterio said, "I know. That was really disappointing." And then he got Spider-Man. This was the first time we saw Spider-Man really serious as Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which was really, really good. And we just hear a gunfire because the Mysterio on the ground was actually another illusion. The real Mysterio was holding a gun right at his head, but Peter Tingle managed for him to push the gun up and hold his arm, and then he then takes the glasses off him and then say to execute all the drones, and all the drones then get deactivated, and after that Mysterio then falls to the ground, and he says, "Sometimes this city would believe anything." And then that's him then dead from the wounds of the drones. And then Spider-Man just puts on the glasses and asks Ida, is this another illusion? And Ida says, all drones have been deactivated. He's gone. So that's him then completely, that's Mysterio dead now. And while all the drones are being deactivated, the three that are still in trying to get MJ, Happy, Flash, and Ned are still closing in, and they've got weaponed up, and they're all saying things that they need to get off their chest before they die. Like Flash, he makes his live stream so he could be so he can be noticed, and he could be so everyone will like him. And Ned says, "I've wasted my whole life playing video games." MJ apologizes for always saying the truth, even though it hurts people's feelings. She just likes that. And And Happy would then say that I'm in love with Spider-Man's aunt. And everyone's just like, what? And that was just completely hilarious. And and also Betty says that I have a fake ID, but I never use it. And then once the drones are then broken down the door, they're about to shoot, but then it managed to catch up. The deactivation managed to catch up to them, so they now deactivate and fall to the ground. And Happy just says to MJ, "Just give me that spear." And then Flash says, "That's an axe," which is a good nod out to Stormbreaker of Thor, because everyone thought it was a spear or an axe or a hammer, and I thought that was really clever. I don't know if this is a real thing or not, but I'm just saying I think that's what it was meaning to be, because Stormbreaker was 3 different things in one, so I thought that would be a good shout out. And once Spider-Man then gets back onto the bridge, MJ then runs up to Peter and hugs him and say, "You know, just figuring out you were Spider-Man wasn't the only reason why I noticed you. I actually really like you." And then Spider-Man was like, "I really like you too." And he was going to give him the black flower, but it's all broken up. But then MJ says, "No, it's alright. I kind of like it broken." Because in her eyes she is broken, because she's unhinged. She doesn't process things properly, and it was very poetic that she would like the broken one. And then Peter and MJ then had their first kiss, and they were just like, "Wow, okay, well, I better, yeah, you know, yeah." And Peter's just like, "Yes!" And once they get back on the plane, they then land back in New York, and everyone goes back to their families, but Flash goes to his butler, just says, "Oh, did Mom not make it? Couldn't make it?" And the butler says, "No, I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson." And Flash is just like, "Right, okay." And then and Peter and MJ are holding hands, all clinched together, and MJ then just says, "Don't be late." And Peter's like, "I won't." And then MJ walks away, and then Betty and Ned then walk up and they say, "You're a cute couple." And Peter then asks, "Hey, maybe we should all go on a double date." But Betty and Ned say, "Oh, but we've broken up." And it was like, "Oh, but why?" And it just says, and Ned was like all wise, just saying, the like something like the relationship on the ground is over, but the time they spent together will never disappear in their hearts. So then that's them broken up. And then Peter then runs back to Aunt May and is relieved to see him okay and everything. So they get back to the house, but before that, Aunt May says, "Where's all your luggage?" "Oh yeah, right, they were destroyed." Because they were destroyed in the crossfires, and it was really funny. And we then get to see a blackout, and then Peter is wearing his new suit and talking to Happy and Aunt May just to ask them, "Are you two in a relationship?" And Aunt May says, "No." And then Happy says, "Yes." It's just like, and they were just like, "What?" Aunt May was like, "It's a summer fling." And Happy's like, "Yeah, because it would get more and more." And then they start arguing and bickering to say if this is real or not. And Peter's just starts feeling really awkward. And he just says, "Yeah, well, I gotta go. I got a date. See ya." And then web slings off in his iconic web slinging fashion in New York. And then runs into MJ and asks her, "You ready?" And she said, "Yep." And then Spidey and MJ are web slinging together. She's absolutely crapping herself because she cannot handle the heights, and she just said, "Don't jump me, don't jump me. If I don't look, I will not be scared. Why do I keep looking? Why do I keep looking?" And she's absolutely panicking. And that's when it ends, and then we get the first set of end credits. And now I'm going to talk about both end credit scenes of the movie. So the first one is after we get to see the whole intro with like the cast, and we get to see Spider-Man Far From Home. It then Peter drops MJ down back on the ground and asks her, "Did you enjoy that?" And she was like, "Yeah, I enjoyed that. Not doing it again though." But and then Spidey's just, "Well, okay, that's fine. I gotta go." And he web slings to a lamppost, and then a special report then comes in, saying that Mysterio actually was recording a tape of saying that, saying, I couldn't stop the elementals. I managed to stop the elementals, but Spider-Man, he's gone unhinged. He's too powerful. I couldn't stop him. He's wanting to be the new Tony Stark and no one else. He's completely crazy. And he had a clip of Spider-Man of Ida saying, "There'll be massive casualties. Do you still wish to execute?" And Peter says, "Yes, execute," which was an indication of disarming the drones, not actually executing people, but it made it look like that, and you just hear gunfire straight afterwards, and everyone's now thinking Spider-Man is actually killing people to stop everyone from being the new Tony Stark. And this was my absolute loving, like, full-on nerd mind-blown moment. The news report says, we now got an interview with the owner of the Daily Bugle, J. Jonah Jameson, and it's J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons. He is back as J. Jonah Jameson, and it is phenomenal. We get to see him back as JJ. That was absolutely fantastic. I loved that, and honestly, I think JJ looks pretty interesting. Him being bald, I never couldn't believe that, but there you go. But I was really happy that J.K. Simmons is having that, and he says Spider-Man is a menace now, and but then the last bit we then see Mysterio actually says Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Shows a picture of Peter, and Spidey's just like, "What the?" And it goes to black. So it ends with everyone knowing Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So what's gonna happen in the next Spider-Man movie? I don't know. So then we go around through the other credits, and then we have the other ending where we see Nick Fury and Mia Hill driving through the city, and they turn into Skrulls. They were Skrulls the entire time of the movie. We did not see that coming. And it was actually Nick Fury's Skrull was actually Talos, which was the Skrull in the Captain Marvel movie, which was actually really interesting. I'm glad that the Skrulls are still on Earth even after Captain Marvel got them to freedom. And the Maria Hill Skrull then just tell Talos, "How on earth could you believe him?" And Talos was like, "He was very convincing. I mean, parallel Earth. I mean, I thought it was real." And she was like, and Maria then just the Skrull then would say, "You gotta call him." And then Talos was like, "Ugh, fine." And it's just like, "Hey, I'm glad. Hope you're enjoying your vacation. Well, we gave the kid the glasses, like you said." So it turns out Tony didn't actually give him the glasses. It was actually Nick Fury that gave it to Spider-Man. And we're having a bit of an issue here, and I think we would really need you back here ASAP. So then Nick Fury just hangs up. He's in a tropical holiday, but then it turned into, it was all digital, and he just walks out, and it's like a whole Skrull ship. He's been inside this whole time. And he just walks out and just says, "Everyone, back to work, let's go." And then he just walks off. He looks out into space and just says, "And where are my shoes?" And then, boom. That's it. So we end the movie with Nick Fury in space with the Skrulls spaceship. Which I'm thinking that means that the Skrulls are now going to be part of the new team of Shields. So I don't know what's going to happen next. that's gonna be a real thinker. Like, everyone knows that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, Nick Fury's in space with the Skrulls. I mean, what's gonna happen? I don't know. It might relate in the other movies, like maybe Nick Fury runs into the Asgardians of the Galaxy if we're getting that movie. Hopefully, if we're getting it. I really want it to be. And overall, the movie was fantastic. The one-liners were brilliant. It had a really good mixture of seriousness and comedy, and the whole characters of the film were really developing, and it was really good that. And it's a definite watch. I do highly recommend watching this because it does show what Peter Parker's been going through ever since losing Tony, and how he's been trying to come to terms with it, because Tony was like a father figure to Peter, so he was trying to figure out, if Tony's gone, what's there left for me? So it was a really good movie to watch. I do really like it. So anyway, guys, this has been Super Ultra Ranger doing my review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Really hope you guys liked my video, and if you do, I hope you subscribe to my channel and give me a like, or give me any suggestions of maybe later on videos that you might want me to do. Honestly, my channel is open to any suggestions whatsoever, and I hope to see you all guys next time.